Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I've got the two most recent Tauruses in their concealed carry lineup. I've got the GX4, which is the newest, and I've got the G3C, which preceded it. Please don't forget to check out our website. Go to our affiliates page. You'll find discount codes for things like Mantis Axe and Core belts. You'll find a link that you can sign up for Big Daddy Unlimited. They actually have things in stock and usually at a lower price than other places. Link to that cool little bore light that we use for lighting up the barrels. Use those links. It will often save you money, never will cost you any additional money, and helps the channel. Thank you. So the GX4 is their entry into that micro-compact high-capacity territory that everybody's battling out right now. And the G3C is basically the evolution of the PT-111, and it was released shortly before. So there's been a lot of questions, should I get one or the other, and why? So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to compare the two, kind of come up with a conclusion of which one is going to be a better choice or why you would choose one over the other. So first thing I'll do, make sure none of them are going to bite. So they're both unloaded. I'll start with the G3C, which is in my hand. Now this happens to be the TORO version, which is an optics ready version. There's also a regular version of this, and the TORO version is MSRP is $409. And the regular version is $339. So there's a kind of a $70 or $80 difference between the two for the optics ready versus the regular. And with the GX4, there's only one version of this currently, and it's $392. So both of them are sub $400 or close enough, but they're different in a couple different ways. First, let's talk about where they are similar. From a dimension standpoint, the GX4, which is this one here that's in my hand moving, is between 5.8 and 6.05 in length. You might wonder, well, why? How's the length change? Well, it's one of the few, and actually it's the only one I'm aware of in this category that has replaceable back straps. It comes with two, and there is a noticeable difference between the two. The larger back strap has a significantly larger hump, and it comes out a little further. It's going to be kind of hard to describe, but it gives you an idea where it comes out past the back of the beaver tail. Makes the gun a little bit longer. With the smaller back strap on it, the slide from beaver tail to nose is the total length of the gun. The G3C is 6.3 inches. So regardless of which flavor you do for the GX4, it's smaller lengthwise than the G3C. From a height perspective, I'm going to put their flushest mags that each gun offers. From a height perspective, actually I turn it around this way because it'll be a little clearer. You can see that the GX4 is significantly shorter, 4.4 inches versus 5.1. Now, I'm going to put the available, which at the time when this first came out, it was only available in this 11 round in the GX4, and it is 12 rounds in the G3C. Too many letters in their names makes it hard to get them right every time. But the available 13 round magazine for the GX4 now makes it roughly the same height as the G3C, actually a hair shorter when you go to the front of the pinky extender. So basically the bottom line is now that the GX4 has one more round of capacity in the same height overall, but if you're wanting to get shorter, you need that extra shortness because you want to stick it in the pocket. You're only going to give up one round to get down to 11 rounds to get a noticeably shorter gun. From a thickness perspective, the GX4 is 1.08 and the G3C is 1.2, so it's 0.12 inches. Not a huge difference, just a little bit, and just enough to make a hair difference if you're trying to, let's say, go inside the waistband or put this on in a tighter location. Where the GX4 really shines, though, is weight. The GX4 is 18.5 ounces, and the G3C is 22 ounces. So the GX4 is actually a significantly lighter gun than the G3C, and that does give it an advantage, especially for pocket or ankle or carry positions where you've got reciprocating mass. It's either bouncing on your leg in a pocket or down at the ankle, it's swinging as your legs swing. Both of them have stainless steel barrels. The GX4 is a 3.06 inch barrel and the G3C is a 3.2 inch barrel. So there's not enough barrel length difference to make any kind of a difference in stabilization, velocity, or anything like that that would make a difference why you would choose one or the other. They both have drop safeties. They've got the inertial safety and they've got a drop safety toggle in the trigger in both of them. So they both have the safeties that you'd expect, but there is one difference. The G3C does have a thumb safety for those that like a thumb safety, and currently the GX4 is not offered in a thumb safety. So most of these modern guns, striker guns like this, do not have a thumb safety. Now the G3C has one feature that the GX4 doesn't. It has double strike capability, similar to the PT-111 and the guns in the lines that led up to it. That's not present in the GX4. Now, most striker guns these days do not have double strike capability. The Tauruses are one of the few that did. So if that capability is something that you really want, then you're going to want to stick with the G3C. If you're willing to give that up, as you would with pretty much everything out there now that is a lighter trigger striker gun, then the GX4 would be an option available to you. So let's talk about the triggers, because they're different, but they're both good triggers. So I'm going to do the G3C first. So I'm going to cycle it. There's a significant amount of take up, and then you come to the back, and there's a bit of a wall and a nice break, and both of these are around a 6-pound trigger. There's the reset. It's not the shortest reset on the planet, and you see there's a little bit of take up, but it's not a long reset either. And then another break. The only disadvantage is you are braking all the way at the back. So when you start here, you're going to have a lot of take up, but it's really light and it's really smooth. So it shouldn't affect your grip or turn the gun as you do it. And then the wall happens all the way at the back. I found the trigger easy to use, mainly because it wasn't a heavy trigger all the way. If it's a heavy trigger all the way, then it's going to start to affect your point of impact, because you're going to have a tendency to turn the gun. And even when it's been fired, the trigger is still relatively smooth. The only difference between fired, it's very light take up all the way to the back, and not fired, there's less take up, and you're pulling the whole way against a little bit of weight, but it's kind of light. So now let's go to the GX4. GX4 has very little take up and a very, very short, crisp wall. You'll notice the travel was very short. There's the reset. Not quite all the way out, but close enough. And then again, that very short, crisp wall. This has a discernible wall. This has less of a noticeable wall. So if you like a gun that has a distinct wall where you know you're on it and the next movement you make is going to break it, you'll like the GX4. If you like a little bit smoother pull through, then you'll like the G3C a little bit better. Now, one thing you can see that is a difference that I don't understand why is there's a rail on the G3C and there is not on the GX4. There's enough real estate on both to do it. So that's going to limit your ability to do lights and lasers on the GX4, at least until the aftermarket catches up, which it'll depend on whether or not the gun becomes popular enough for the aftermarket to take an interest in it. Let's talk about the sights for a second. And I really don't like the sights on either one of them, because they're blackout sights. If I can get them to line up so that you can see them both at the same time. The only thing that I did find is if you look at the GX4, it's got a nice dot. That's the one on the left. It's got a nice dot and there's a little bit of a gap. The GC3, it's a little bit vaguer, but there's still, you can still see the front sight. I did find on both of these guns that I had to work for it. Not because of the trigger or the ergonomics of the gun, but with the blackout rear sight and the dots kind of fading a little bit, I had to work for groups. You could get them, but it wasn't an easy out of the box. At least with the G3C, with the Toro, the argument could be made that you can slap a red dot on it and that completely goes away. It's not an option with the GX4. Now you can replace the sights. They're dovetail at the back and then there's the set screw at the front, so you can replace them. There's options available. But out of the box as they come, the sights are less desirable. And as they sit right now, both of these guns are black body, black slide. The G3C, recently they added a stainless slide, so you got the two-tone finish if you like that. Kind of dresses it up a little bit. But overall, both of these have been functional. They've both been reliable. But I'm thinking the GX4 kind of checks all the checkbox, winning the categories of size, weight, and capacity over the G3C. The biggest thing the G3C retains is that double strike capacity and the ability to go optics ready. But overall, the GX4 is a step forward and most likely would be the one I would choose of the two, simply because I've got that capacity. I do like the trigger on the GX4 a little bit better. I like that type of setup, and I would just have to do something about the sights, which I would do on either one of them. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us the thumbs up, share, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter. We're kind of everywhere. And thank you.